I can screen for it. Technically, I believe in order to diagnose it, you kind of have to do a pretty significant battery of tests that is beyond the scope of a 15-minute appointment.
Right.
Usually I defer to a psychologist or a developmental pediatrician to do that.
What's the difference between a screening and a diagnosis?
So screening can only kind of, suggest that maybe they need to be sent over to a psychologist or a developmental pediatrician. I'm not putting that on their chart saying that this is what it is. I can say that I suspect that it's probably autism, but without the the criteria. I believe there are certain criteria that a child needs to kind of go through these evaluations in order to have them have that diagnosis of autism.
Right.
So usually I try to talk to the parents about, what sort of pervasive things are happening at home. Like if it's absolutely becoming to the point where, the child's breaking things, or if you're just absolutely not paying attention, not doing, what the parents want are telling them, then I can talk to them about maybe going somewhere out of the local area. And that's, a big shout out to my case managers who really put in a lot of effort in helping the parents get reimbursed for these trips, making the appointments, trying to find the soonest available appointment for them. And that's something that I can definitely work on a case by case basis with the parents. Now, if they're not willing to travel, and it's not something that's pervasive, where it's like the school kind of just feels that he's kind of weird or aloof a little bit. I still try to talk with my case managers to see if they can be seen as quickly as possible, but I kind of get a gestalt from the parents to see how urgent they want to be seen by a developmentalist or a psychologist. So, but in terms of the risks or the downsides of being seen by a subspecialist over at Kansas City or Children's, usually we're pretty good about trying to get all that stuff taken care of for the parents through nurse case managers that I work with do a really good job. Yeah, that's kind of going back on determining the severity or the pervasiveness of the behaviors that he's having. If he's falling behind in school significantly to the point where he's missing grades, then I would say try to be a little bit more active in getting that diagnosis so that way he does get the services. But if you're seeing just behaviors that can be managed at home by just a behavioral health person here or your PCM, and you feel that you can't keep those behaviors under control, then if it is too much of a hassle, then you can delay it for 6 months, 9 months. It's as I mentioned, at that age, it's probably going to be negligible. I haven't really looked into the research on, how, the intervals of when you should start ABA. Just know that, the consensus is the earlier you start, the better.
Earlier is better.
But if you're already at that point where you're 5 years old, and the difference is, starting when you're 5.5 versus you're 6, it's probably not going to make that big of a difference. And this is just, from my experience too. So I don't think you're necessarily going to miss a boat or anything. It's going to be too late for him to get ABA therapy later on. It might be a little bit harder to kind of mitigate some of the behaviors, but I don't think it's going to be this huge catastrophic thing. He didn't get ABA by the time he was 5. He's now going to be, in special ed forever. I don't think that's the case. Yeah.
Okay.